Hey guys, Chris from American Warrior Forge here. Welcome back to my workshop. So today we're going to skip on the blacksmithing basics for a second, just because of the project that I'm actually working on today, and we are going to look at how I glue up on a full tang knife. So we'll look at some handle material work today, and hopefully it'll help you out. I'm not reinventing the wheel, just teaching you a couple of the tricks that I've been taught, and hopefully it'll help you guys out. All right, thanks. Let's get to it. Okay, so first off, what are you going to need? Well, obviously, you're going to need a full tang knife. You're also going to need your handle material. I prefer to prep mine, so you can see it's pretty much shaped to the knife as it is. I just have a little finish work left to do on it. Holes pre-drilled, all that good stuff, okay? One tip that I like to do to make sure that everything lines up correctly when it comes time to do the GlueUp, especially if you're using 5-minute epoxy, is I like to mark them. So this one says right, this one says left on the insides where it's going to touch the tang, and then I put them on in a dry fit up first. Once everything is done in a dry fit up and it fits well, then I take them back off and I lay them, I orient them on my workspace, my work desk, so that they're in the side that they're going to end up in on the knife, and then grab them and put them together when it comes time. So obviously you need that. Next, you're gonna need 5-minute epoxy. I'm just using JB Weld 5-minute epoxy for this one. There's lots of different options, but I find that one works pretty well. Also, you're gonna need your pin stock. Okay, I've already got my pin stock here. This is 1/4 inch mild steel round bar. I've already cut it down. I've chamfered the edges here. Makes them go in a little bit smoother. You just rotate that on the edge of your grinder, or use a file if you don't have a grinder. It just makes them go in a little bit easier. And then, just in case they don't want to go in after the dry fit up, because you know Murphy's Law, Murphy will always pop up and bite you, I take a punch that fits this pin stock and a light hammer, and I lay it out on my workspace close to where I'm going to be doing my glue up, just in case I need to tap those pins through. Some painter's tape, okay? I like to use popsicle sticks. I've used other things in the past, little bits of cardboard, plastic spoons, things like that, and they work okay. You can do in a pinch, but this seems to work best for mixing and applying your epoxy. Nitrile gloves. Now, a tip that I actually picked up from Valhalla IronWorks listening to the Forgecast. You can find that Forgecast on Apple Podcasts. I believe they're on Spotify. I'm not sure where else they are, but I'll put a link to their podcast. It's great. They've got a lot of good information. And this is a tip I got from them, and that is that when you do your glue up, you get your nitrile gloves, and rather than putting on one, you double up. Okay? Double bag it. The reason is because glue is going to get everywhere, all right? And so by having 2 layers on each hand, I can get glue on this, peel it off when I need to, and then I have a fresh set of gloves again to continue tweaking, put my clamps on, things like that, all right? Okay, so now that you got your nitrile gloves doubled up, that brings us to the last piece, and that is some form of clamp, okay? On my glue ups, usually I just use these guys. You can use can't twist clamps, they work great. Sometimes I'll use these initially to hold it, and then can't twist clamps afterwards, because they're a dialed. But the great thing about a can't twist clamp is that rather than like a C clamp where you're twisting one end and then the piece that's clamping onto the work is also twisting, so it makes your work move, the can't twist clamp, you twist it and it moves the jaws down and tightens them, and so it's not going to make your work move around. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll put these on first, and then I'll lock a can't twist clamp in the middle. Just be sure that you don't twist it down so much that you crack or mar up your handle material too bad. So, okay, that's the prep work. Those are the things you're going to need for this glue up to do it the way that I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's change down to the workspace here so you can see how I set that up, and we'll get going. Okay, so as you can see, everything oriented here. I've got my painter's tape laid out. I've already laid some strips on my workbench. That's where I'm going to put my glue and mix it up. I have my popsicle stick, glue. I have my knife here, my scales oriented, my pins, my clamps, hammer, punch. One thing I didn't mention before is a 1, 2, 3 block. This helps. if I need to be able to punch that through, I can lay that on there, punch down through one of these holes to get those pins through. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. First, we're going to put some of this 5-part epoxy, the resin, onto the glue here. It's pretty cold in Idaho this morning, so we're gonna have to fight getting it out just a little bit. Okay, so now that I've got my resin, you want to get those in about equal parts, at least for this. Defer to the instructions on the type of resin you're going to be using, or epoxy. And we're going to go ahead and mix those parts together using our popsicle stick here. Alright, so now once we've got that good and mixed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to start with my left, and I'm going to apply epoxy to the back side, the inside of the knife handle scale, making sure that plenty gets in those pinholes. I'm going to wipe away any excess that's hanging over onto the side that's going to be seen. Swipe that on my tape here. Alright. Now, I'm going to grab my knife, line up those holes, pop a pin in each one. Now from my dry fit up that I did just off camera, I know that this front one lines up really well, so I'm going to put it through first. The back one is just a smidge tighter. Okay, so I'm going to, now see, this is what I'm talking about. I got glue all over my hands now. I don't want to get that all over my hammer, so I'm going to remove one layer so I can tap this through the Tang. There it is. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to get some more epoxy. Do the same thing on the right handle scale. Smear that around, get it inside those pinholes and all over the inner section of this handle where it's going to touch the Tang. Get that fitted onto the pin. For the front one first, wipe away that excess, and I'm just going to dump it into this back hole here. Alright, now I need to tap this the rest of the way through. So again, now I've got glue on my glove, peel off a layer. Sorry if the camera's kind of jumping around right now. There we go. Okay, so now we've got the scales and the pin stock in place. I'm going to wipe off some excess with one of these gloves that I peeled off. And then we're going to put our clamps on. I like to clamp one in the back. I'm going to remove a glove so I don't get glue on my clamp. One in the front. and then it can just stand like that while we wait for it to dry. In this case, it's a smaller knife. I'm not going to end up using this third clamp. I did get a little epoxy in my 1, 2, 3 block. So I'm just going to wipe that out before it dries. Now we wait. Okay guys, so that's it. That's the process that I follow. It's pretty simple, but a couple little tricks that really make it go much smoother, much quicker, much less headache. So hopefully those have helped you. Maybe it's something you hadn't tried before. You know, double gloves seems like something silly, but it really helps. Having a punch, having everything oriented. So again, thanks for joining me today. Hopefully this helps somebody. I'll have more video and more content uploaded in the near future. Again, I will post a link in the description to the Forgecast, which is where I got some of these tips, as well as Valhalla IronWorks YouTube channel, and the other co-host of the Forgecast, Sam Towns Bladesmith. He has a YouTube channel as well. It's also chock full of content that is just really outstanding. So I'll put a link to all of that in the description here, and hit me up if you have any questions, comments. If you have any tips that you think might help viewers or myself, feel free to put it in the comments. This is all just so that we can share information and everybody can get better. So hopefully this helps. Again, thank you for joining me on my workshop today, and you guys have a wonderful day. See you on the next one.